Did you know we are made up of light? What would it be like to live closer to the light that we really are?
Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
This is Angelscapes podcast, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith. And joining me is Manny Muros. Hopefully I'm saying your name right, Muros, or correct me. He's a mystic and a yogi, and he's here for a conversation about our mind's overlays that cause illusions in our lives, that cause us to see things not as they really are. These overlays keep us from seeing life as they really are, but what could be a way of being and living if we saw life as it actually was created, as it actually was meant to be? Manuel Jose Muros, Manny, he had a profound awakening in his mid-30s. Manny discovered true self, which opened the door to living with peace and joy. And he went on to develop a program called Mind Overlay Transformational Program to help others become conscious creators of their own lives. And he is the author of 3 books, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. And he leads workshops and retreats in the U.S. and internationally. We're going to talk about the retreat that's coming up in Spain. Welcome to the show, Manny. So happy to see you and have you on. How did I say your name, your last name?
Yeah. Manny Muros.
Muros. Thank you.
Once I arrived in this country, I had to soften it all out because we pronounce much softer here. But it's Manny Muros. Yeah.
Thanks. Well,
And thank you for having me, Nancy. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you. So this mind overlay, we were just talking a little bit before we got on just to warm up. And let's explain a little bit, I guess would be my question about what a mind overlay is and how you got to understand that concept and how you developed it so you could teach it.
The mind overlay came to me, and it took me a while to figure it out. After that awakening that I described in my 30s, where basically life overwhelmed me and I had to do a massive surrender. I really didn't know what the next step would be. And in a state of prayer, devotion, surrender, all of a sudden, I just felt energy and I felt love and I felt peace. And it's like I dropped into this whole nother consciousness state where I knew everything was going to be fine. No idea how, but it opened that gateway. And then I just became a full-time student meditator because I wanted to hold on to that, going deeper and deeper into this place of deep silence. What ended up occurring was that I began to see that everyone around me was just living within the constructs of their minds. You could see it was always focused on the future and on the past. And it was almost, there's an efficiency in our minds which looks at patterns and then holds us in those patterns. And then we assume that that is the only truth. So the awakening gave me the observer, the witness, to see those patterns.
The observer, I love that. That is the observer. That's so important. Yeah.
The observer, the witness. That is all of my teachings begin and end with how do we know that we are that witness, we are that observer, and our personalities, this that we think we are, is something we put on,
Mm-hmm.
and actually has been put on to us by the
Yep.
teachings of our culture.
Yeah.
We didn't even put it on consciously.
No, what did you call, you used the word, like we're trained or something, where,
Yeah, we are domesticated in a sense, to be small, to fit in, to blend into our society. We were born wild, and that's our essence. And how can we regain that? Because those are the society wants us to just work, just go into the system. Um, and the many of the artists are the folks that basically refuse to do that. And we have a hard life because of that.
we do have a hard life, and uh, because we're agreeing to be part of that hard life in a sense.
Well, if we step out of it, we have to create our own path. And once you become awakened, you start creating your own path. You begin to see, uh, the trappings of society to keep you small, to keep you in the system.
So let's go to the mind overlay. You talked about that witness, I call it the sacred witness, the observer. Um, and you came to a point in your life where you just said, I can't do this anymore. Then through meditation, you felt this love and this connection flow in that felt marvelous to you, and you were headed for that. Um, let's talk about somebody who's not ready to head in for that, but they're miserable. Yeah, I'm sure you get lots of students that come in at that point.
Yeah.
What is the first step to becoming your own observer?
Yeah, the first step, we work hard to really see how much the mind overlay uh, dominates us, because we see everything through that projected image of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is defined by that. And a lot of folks at the beginning say, like, oh yeah, I understand the mind overlay. I'm like, you really don't. You actually want to start seeing how every single action we do, we're bringing the past into the future,
Mm-hmm.
without a stopgap.
Mm-hmm.
And once I get that understanding, that I go, oh my God, yes, I am basically just become a machine. I'm just running this software program.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Then the next level is creating the muscles in our mental muscles so that we can stand as an observer of all that our mind is playing. So we cultivate that concentration to observe our minds and to learn that just because I think so doesn't make it true, doesn't make it
Right. I know. I really believe. So, what are the top things? Maybe if you could top two things, top five things that people can look at, or that will give them a little flag. This is a mind overlay. What would you say they would?
It's the relationship, the relationships with everyone in all of our family, all of our friends. We're playing patterns. We don't see
Okay.
people as they are. For example, I have grown children, grown men, and a daughter, and it was great for me to basically every time I would see them, because there were gaps, to say, okay, let me listen to them now. Who are they today? So I am not holding them to who they were the last time I saw them,
Right.
because they're growing almost at a faster rate than we are. And part of the complaints is that, our parents don't see us, don't hear us, as they're evolving. So that's like a perfect example of saying, I have to see everything with fresh eyes,
Precious.
fresh eyes. Yeah, and it becomes a habit.
That's
It becomes a habit. And it's a way of reading the day. My wife laughs at me because we'll usually go to bed with plans for what we need to do the next day. Always I will get up and I will say, is that still real?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Let's feel the day. What is it really asking us today? So that we can be authentically doing the next best right step for where we're heading.
So
And
they always say life happens when you make plans. You make plans and then life happens. But you're talking about something deeper than just life happening. You're talking about what is the day calling me for? It's like the energetics of the day, the flow of the day. Um,
yeah, because we're co-creators, but there's a movie that our soul came here to play. We're, to me, the co-creating aspect of it is how am I going to align to my soul's journey?
mhm.
It's not that I'm going to give it another journey.
True that. There's a bigger power at play here. And yeah, how do I align to my soul's journey? You talked about us being, we're light, and how, what is it like when we live as the light that we were created to be? And I can kind of sort of get that, but sometimes I don't even get that. Like, what does that mean that we're light and we can live like light?
Yeah, this is something I tend to spend a lot of time, and I have a science background and a business background. So the science background really helps with this, recognizing that all of creation is particles moving in wave-like form. All of creation is light. That's it. We have senses that pick up that light, and through biochemical reactions and electrical impulses, we create that image inside ourselves. It's in our minds that we literally experience life. I mean, this is probably further out than you wanted to go, but
Right.
but for me, um, knowing that all of creation is this divine light, we are the tip of a ray of light all the time in the present moment, expressing itself. And we're inside this journey, this play that we're all going together, but we're at the tip of that light. And what we get to do is flavor that light. We get to give it love or joy or fear or control. We are flavoring that light as it becomes reality. And the mind overlay keeps us in an old pattern. Becoming free, becoming that witness, allows us to be uh, uh, mindfully creating.
Mm-hmm.
That's that makes sense.
It makes it feel as yes, as much as anything else, it makes sense. So we I what was going through my head while we were talking as I was thinking about there are a number of people that in all of our lives that they just don't seem to go past go. They are very unhappy, and so their unhappiness is proving to them that they are unhappy. So the next action would be bringing them to even more unhappiness. See, I was right, and so they're proving I guess they're proving the mind overlay over and over again. So getting out of that stuck pattern, which I call like a stuck energy pattern, is probably the biggest challenge for anyone to go through. And our lifetimes, you had. I'm just going back to what you said. When you were 30, you had this awakening and opening to spirit. There must have been something that was leaning on you really hard, that was saying no, and you could have gone through say I'm going to prove this and stay in that paradigm, but you left the paradigm. So that took courage. I thought when I listened to you talk the first time.
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. I mean, people give me a lot of credit, and thank you for acknowledging that there was a sense of courage, but the reality is there was no choice. I got transformed. I became this. I mean, that's why my first book is actually called "The Other Side of Me," because because something switched, a flip, and I saw reality. I literally saw the world as energy, complete energy. It would pulse on me. So
Wonderful.
this is not theory for me. And then I really started to try to understand what I was experiencing, which took me into a deep dive of the yogic world, specifically non-duality, tantric
Mhm.
philosophy, and what the sages were talking about. So if I now started to read Buddha or Christ or any of those sages, I get what they were saying. Uh, and for me, it was like, wow, without having this, without creating this shift, it would be hard to understand because
Mhm.
it's not real. But thank God the universe gave me the opportunity to see it for real. And it did not make life any easier. As a matter of fact, it made it much harder because I couldn't figure out how to function.
So talk about that a little bit. It made it harder, but because you made it harder for you to function. What was that challenge? And you're not in that place anymore. So
Well, but then, like I used to say, all this awareness doesn't even get me a cup of coffee. I still had to function in the world that man created, which is an illogical world made of capitalism and control and fear. It's such a massive overlay over the natural world, which is aligned to the vibration of the divine. We have the free will to be misaligned. That's really the challenge of being human. The birds, all the animals, they are in harmony with the flow of nature. They are vibrating at that harmonic field that is just presence. We lose our presence because of that mind overlay.
we do, we do. We're not in the present moment. We're not even. We're somewhere else. We're thinking about something that's demanding our attention, and
Exactly. We're someone else and we are someone else.
yeah.
Both.
So let's put this into. I love going theoretical. I love going spiritual, but I know that many times people will listen to me going, "That sounds great, Nancy, but what does that have to do with anything?" Like you said, I can't get a cup of coffee with this, but you actually can get a cup of coffee with this. But it takes it a couple turns around the sun. But we were talking about what is the planet learning right now? What is our community learning right now? What is the karmic lesson that's being played out? And the dynamics that are happening. We have in our community, we talk about the community that we live in with our family and our friends, and then we talk about the larger, city state, and then we talk about the country. We have a lot of abundance. There's a lot of wonderful gifts all around us, and there's enough for everybody. But there's a lot of people that don't even have close to having enough. They're hungry or they're not getting medical treatment that they need or whatever it could be. And we were talking about the karmic lesson of greed and what that could possibly mean. I'm just throwing this in here to kind of bring things to here's reality. We're all greedy, or and what greed, all the different polarities of greed, which could be I'm holding on, hoarding, or I'm holding on. I'm not going to let this element go because I think I'm going to need it later. But somebody might need that element right now, and if we let it go, it's a flow that mimics the flow of the universe, the flow of the creator. So could you talk about that a little bit? Just bring it real.
Yeah, I think one of the issues is that we have a society where we don't inherently feel safe. There's no need for that. But we have a society that doesn't
Absolutely.
feel safe. We don't have adequate health insurance. We have catastrophic health if you have some. We don't have a safety net for when we get older. So if if you the audience is aware of the energetic system, the chakras, our lower chakras that need to feel safe, loved, and belonging, all of those can't find that in our society in a comfortable way because we're valuing other things. So that because we don't feel safe, then we feel we don't have enough. And that's the seed of greed. And then that's the seed of disparity. And then you want to make sure that your kids have enough. All that's enough. So all of a sudden you're accumulating without any need. If we all simply recognize that there is enough, we wouldn't have to do that. And if we had a system that supported that, that basically gave people the basic needs, to me, healthcare should be a basic societal need. Education is a basic societal need. Our safety net is not a net.
Black hole sometimes, but yeah.
It's full of holes.
Yeah.
And that's how we see this behavior. And then once the mind begins to feel gratification out of acquiring things, that becomes another mind overlay. Oh, if I feel this way, I'll go acquire that. And that gives me a little dopamine hit and I will feel better. And then that goes away. And then I'll go do that.
We do another one.
So we're really playing that loop as compared to the loop of in this moment, I have everything I need. In this moment, I am completely guided. In this moment, life is fine.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, I love that message. There's this is it Maslow's law of hierarchy, the needs. Yeah, and it's the spiritual. Can we achieve a spiritual pinnacle in our life if our basic needs are not met? And the challenge here is to say, can you see that your basic needs are being met, and you can achieve that spiritual pinnacle? Love to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, correct. I mean, and that's the thing. We, again, our stories say that we don't have enough. So we don't have time to do our spiritual work, quote unquote, because we're running around trying to do our basic needs, which are beyond basic. You know, we live in such a much larger scale than our actual needs are by far. And yet we don't feel safe. And yet we don't feel we have enough. And you're right. In Pavlov's, once you stop chasing those fundamental needs, then there's an opportunity for philosophy. There's an opportunity for spiritual practice, for cultivating our essence. And, we're missing all of that. And again, a place as poor as India, which I've spent a little bit of time, you will see folks so happy, so joyful. Actually, in the third world, people are happier than in the first world.
Yeah, those darn first world problems are really messing us up. Yeah.
Yes, we need more. We have such a complicated society. While, if one is able to live simpler, there's just more space in your life. That's where that opportunity to do our work arises.
I'm with you on that, and I have to say, because I'm honest, try to be honest with myself and honest with the world around me. We're all in a process, so am I. Is that I just was telling you earlier that I just moved, and from one home to another, and I had too much stuff in my other house because I had all the stuff in there from a divorce and blah blah blah, and I just didn't know what to do with it. And so here it all is, and I don't want all this stuff, but I don't know how to let it go. I feel like it was really complicated with the grief process, and now I'm at and so I symbolically shoved a lot of stuff away into closets so I didn't have to feel those feelings. So I emotional healing, understanding. Even when somebody's having a panic attack, you just say, breathe, you're safe now. Look around you. Have a drink of water. It's okay. And I feel like part of the healing process is breathing, is getting to that. Where are you right now? There's a roof over your head, or not. There's not a roof over your head. Where are you right now, and what do you actually need in this moment? And I feel that I've over the years of all the changes and the traumas, I forgot how to take care of and nurture that basic needs and know that I'm okay. And I feel like I'm one of a million billion people. That's what we're talking about here.
That's part of our human evolution because I do work with a lot of folks. It's so it's so wonderful to see that these patterns we all have. We all have had to figure out a way to work with them. No one has an easy ride. It doesn't matter where they are society wise, you get given problems that you don't have solutions to.
Correct.
That's it. Everybody has them. So the introspection to really accept that this is my journey, this is what my soul signed up for, and surrendering, not giving up, but basically surrendering both feet actively into what is the lessons that I'm here to learn, help us move through them much quicker because the avoidance of them, which is what we most of the time do, just prolongs the problem.
Exactly.
And a surrender that we actually have to digest whatever is here, we actually have to transmute it.
We do. We do.
Do you know what I'm saying? So yes, we have to go through grief. We have to go through loss. We have to savor joy and happiness just the same. They're all here to be digested. And in that digestion, we evolve. And that's why we are in the planet, to do that.
Yeah, the evolution.
Many of us push things aside because we don't want to face it. I've been guilty of that. That was the spiritual bypass we were talking about.
Spiritual bypass. The conversation we had before the podcast was going on a spiritual path and having this beautiful awakening and this joy through meditation, but not taking care of the back closet that's filled with stuff the way I did. No, I'm kidding. But so the spiritual bypass is about feeling the feelings and knowing that the source is there, that the love is there, that the support is there.
And that the answer is within moving through exactly what we don't want to face. Because I call those paper tigers. We all have fears and self-doubt, our own individual version of what that is. So that's why you can see a friend and say, my God, why don't you just do that? But they can't because of their mind stories.
And so he giving him the encouragement. So you can't tell a friend what to do, though. You can't say, you're really kind of crazy on that one, because they'll,
that's their truth.
Yeah.
We can basically let them know, that truth is actually pliable. If you sit, we explore, and we look at it, there's a perspective that has the key to transmute that is challenging you at the moment. But we have to walk through it.
We do have to walk through it. And we do. And I wanted to take a quick little pause and talk about your books before people start signing off and have to go back to work. But you have many ways that people can reach out to you through your website, innerlightouterjoy.com. I love that website title. And you can be found on Facebook. I found you just by looking up Manny Muros, but you also have Manuel Jose Muros. Anything? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Nancy. Yeah, because I've been doing this for so many years, I feel like I have all these chapters that are all lining up together. So when I did start publishing my book, I did go by Manuel Jose Muros because I actually felt that there was that's my real name. Okay. But also I spoke from another place. because a lot of this work I really felt was channeled. It came through meditation as I was.
Your higher understanding of yourself, yeah. Which you so nicely say that your full name is you, which is beautiful. I love that.
Which actually feels somewhat awkward because I go by Manny. So Manny is my friends. But then something happens when we enter this other space. But I'm going to say my first book, which is the other side of me, came came from me sitting in meditation, exploring life. Like, what is love? What are all these things? And I was just writing notes for myself. And it was just a stack of papers on my coffee table. And my who's now my current wife, when we first met, she saw that and was like, "Oh my God, what's this doing here?" And so it became a book. And it also begins. Then I did write a small autobiography, so that people understood why I have this perspective, what what shaped me to arrive through this opening, and how I became this more authentic self. Um, so that's the first book. Out of the first book, my students and friends said, as you were saying, Nancy, wow, this sounds great, but that doesn't help me. How do I do it? And
Yeah.
then it became the foundation of my teachings, which is a very short book. I almost feel like it's more like a yoga sutra, which is an outline.
Mhm.
It's not supposed to give you the answers. It's an invitation for you to explore the question that brings you to the answer. So I called it the Mind Overlay. Wake up and get real, a guide to transform your life.
Okay.
Uh, and it became, I basically said, after 25 years of doing everything from fire walking to you name it, trying to find my journey, uh, what what actually mattered? What were the insights that I got that made the difference to live uh, a real, authentic life? Just to become awakened. That to me, that was actually the easy part. That just happened to me. To be becoming capable of living with this higher perspective, that was a much longer journey. And that's what this book begins to encapsulate. I also have a video course that they can download based on the book, and which gives them access to online classes
Okay.
following the book. So that's all on my website that they can check.
Again, that website is innerlightouterjoy.com. Yeah.
Thank you. And then the third book was kind of funny. I call it The Oneness Within, and it's actually a little more humorous. And it was a search for the living spirit. Is practices that I maintain so that I don't get lost in the next stories I've created for myself.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like how do I reframe everything in an efficient way so I don't get lost. For a simple example is recognizing that we're composed of aspects. There's like we talk about being energy beings,
Mm.
but we have a mental body, we have an emotional body, we have a physical body, and we have the energetic body that kind of ties them all together. We have our soul body that inhabits the other bodies.
Yeah.
See what I mean? But isn't it interesting that all those bodies have unique needs, and we have to know what they are, and we need to make sure we have them contented, because if they're not contented,
Hmm.
they will pull us out of alignment and out of
So
integrity.
let's talk about a couple of those bodies.
Okay.
Name a couple.
All right. So let's look at our emotional body. If our emotional body needs to have heart-to-heart connections. Our emotional bodies need to be listened to, need to be understood, and need to be heard. We need to be part of a community. When those things are not there, they become very needy, and we have to feed it. And then we start doing things that are not necessarily healthy just to satisfy. It's like being hungry, but then eating Cheetos instead of giving the nutrition that it needs.
Right.
The mental bodies need like-minded folks so that we can have that connection that gets fed. Our physical body needs to be exercised. They need to be given healthy food. If now we throw our whole system out of whack, we need to be touched. We need to be held.
Yeah.
And for me, it's sad because I see society, the way we've separated ourselves and autonomous, those fundamental needs are not being met.
No, they're not. For many people.
Or we feel the way we feel. Yeah, for many folks, obviously. For many folks. And you can see why people behave in ways that don't make sense. But they're behaving that way because they're hurt, because they're not being satisfied. And now I'm going to tie it all together a little bit.
Please.
Witness, our observer, our soul, is the one that's responsible for the well-being of all those bodies. We have to be the alpha male or female that allows those bodies to feel safe so they behave, and then we can do our soul's work. If not, we're running around chasing the distractions they create.
Interesting. So we're in charge. And
we're supposed to be in charge. Yeah, we can't let them
it's careful of who you let be in charge. The observer needs to be in charge. The aware self needs to be in charge, not the
right.
Make sure that you are responsible for yourself, your well-being, and all those parts of yourself that need to be taken care of.
And we're in so much fear. We're chasing. It's all about the economics in this country. You just need so much money to just live here. And it's a prison.
It can be. Yeah, it really can be. You just, instead of praying for grace or reaching out to spirit or being in that soul space, you're like, can you just send me a little more money? And I gotta laugh at
it. Be that way.
No, the idea of getting into spirituality starts with some people. How do you do manifesting? And you got to get off the dime of manifesting to how do I live? Wholly, spiritually, in my aware self, with my light, the tip of that we said that tip of the light that's showing in the world.
And I think that once we uncover it and become authentic, we then are in the flow of the divine, and the abundance will come, and all the things we need to do will arrive because we're giving our highest light. And that's what the exchange really becomes. We're here to exchange energy, except it's now called money, and it's been distorted through the economic system. We need to go back to exchanging pure energy and let the abundance comes, because what you're giving is of value. It makes a difference in other people's lives.
And also, the exchange is the important word. We're giving of ourselves, we're giving the value, we're giving the energy, and we're inviting people to return in kind. I feel my philosophy is that I feel that when we walk into an exchange, we're calling people to be their highest and best, to not be victims, but to be empowered, so that they realize we can do this exchange. We can really help each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, victimism is a mindset. It's a mind overlay. And if you play the victim, you're completely trapped in that jerk wheel. And the universe just keeps bringing you the same lesson because you need to
Oh,
learn.
yeah.
That's why I said jumping in with both feet. Whatever lesson we're meant to learn, you don't want to stay in that same grade, just coming in with different colors, but the same lesson. It's about, and life doesn't get any simpler or easier, I should say, but you handle it better.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
So in
Yeah.
that sense, it becomes easier, but it's not because you're going to have less problems, I should say. You just know how to work through the problems.
Yeah. It reminds me of housework. Housework, a woman's work is ever done. It's like, just clean the kitchen, but didn't you have dinner? Well, yeah, but I just cleaned the kitchen.
Right. But
Constant.
you can be smiling and whistling as you're cleaning,
As you do it. Exactly.
or you can be complaining about it. It still has to get cleaned.
Exactly. It can be a meditative process, a thankful process. A friend of mine once said, oh, the electricity bills were going so up and so high, and it's how am I going to survive? And the other friend said, I'm really grateful that I can turn the lights on, that I actually have this thing called electricity, and look what it does. And it turns on my computer, and I can reach all these other people, and then it turns on, and I'm willing to pay it because it brings me so much value. So it's two different mindsets, and
Completely. And that's what we need to learn, not to see life as problems, but to see it as the journey that's bringing opportunities for us to grow. And every single day we have to digest everything that comes our way. The food we eat, what comes into our minds, what comes into our emotions. So be mindful.
absolutely.
Your friends, you have to digest your friends. You have to digest your family.
Who do? Yeah.
So if we're aware of that, we can choose, how much of a serving we want to do that we can actually digest properly.
Mhm.
Oh,
I like that. I like that. Digest properly. I wanted to also talk a tiny bit. You're having this retreat coming up in Spain. If people are interested in it, is this something they can also find in your website, innerlightouterjoy.com, if they're interested? Or what? Tell me a little bit about the retreat.
so thank you, Nancy. Yeah. So we're returning to this 12th century Masia that a family turned into a gorgeous eco center overlooking the Montserrat mountain range.
Mm-hmm.
And the vibration is just unbelievable. The place couldn't be more stunning. Food is with their own private chef, and it's small. I like intimate groups so we can go deep. So while we're there, we'll be doing yoga and meditation, diving into the teachings. We'll also do breath work to loosen up those patterns that I'm talking about because they live in our cells. And sometimes we need a little energetic push so things can be released. So we'll be working through that, as well as one day we're going to spend it on Montserrat. Well, with a very special guide, um, taking us through the monastery, to the mountain itself, through its history. It is the 1000th anniversary of the monastery.
1,000. Wow.
1000th anniversary of the monastery. But Montserrat was obviously sacred way before Christian era. So the mountains has, uh, from the beginning of time, actually, they know that it has been a pilgrimage site. And then when the Christians they kind of took it over and became a Christian. Uh,
Those Christians took it over. What was it?
Once they became Christian, they put their monastery. I mean, I'm happy. Think of how many generations of monks have actually been
Yeah.
there holding energy. But you can really, it's palpable. from the Matia. Um, and so I'm excited to be going back and diving deep because we need to step away from the currents of life to be able to find our center. And
So
then
true.
we can go back into the current from a different perspective. So I love running retreats because it creates that sacred container, and we need time. I mean, it's great. Anything is good, Like I
Mhm.
said, 5 minutes of centering is awesome. But imagine, really being able. The more we extend, the deeper we can go within ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful. It's about a week long, this retreat. It's
Yes, yes, it
okay.
is.
I want to go. Yeah.
Early May. Yeah, please join us.
Early May. So yeah, it's nice to talk about it now in March. So if people are interested, gives them a few weeks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and we only just have a few more slots available because we want to have it be intimate. It's a special time.
yeah,
And at least for the being, I don't like it when it gets to the point where you have to split into groups. We all eat together in one big table. It's so that the whole time we're really bonding, blending into it's an
sounds
next expression.
lovely, lovely.
Eh,
Yeah. So are there any other thoughts? We've opened a couple of cans. I love this mind overlay. Is there any other thoughts that you want to talk about before?
Mostly is that, life, heaven and earth exists right here. This is it. Don't go think that there's another place. Heaven and earth is here. And we get to live in one or the other based on who we become.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Oh, yeah.
Tragedy is who we become. This whole journey, the outside is a mirror for us to see how we're doing, but all the work happens inside. Love has to live in you first before you can receive it or give it. Peace has to be within you so that you can then live life from a point of peace. So the whole invitation is to realize that the outside world is a perfect reflection of your inner being. And if there are things that are giving you trouble in the outside world, it's an invitation for you to shift something within you that will then align and shift that reality outside of you.
It's a good reminder that that I need to hear, we all need to hear. If something in your outer world is giving you trouble, what? Look inside.
Inside. Yeah. And then have the tools. And the other thing I have, if we do have another minute, yeah,
Yeah, we do.
the I I always find that it's interesting as a teacher how to share this, because at first I because it occurred to me, I had this awakening that I did not understand. I did not have a box to experience a higher state of being. Um, so I end up feeling like all the time I'm doing this dance, I want to share a box that hopefully intellectually you can say, yeah, I can see how that's true. And then share practices that allow you to change so that you can enter this other vibrational state that now matches what we taught. So I say that it's a dance of acquiring knowledge and then through experiencing, turning it into wisdom, because that's when we own the knowledge.
Good luck with, and that's the journey. Turning it.
That dances always,
Yeah.
we learn and then we digest that and then we become that. But the learning is that I always laugh. I'm giving you another mind overlay. Know that we're going to have to let that one go later.
It's true. Oh, here I go again. Oh, that I see it as
Yeah.
a jungle, like you're a kid, you have the jungle gym or you have the different swings and stuff to build yourself up, but then you outgrow them, and if you keep going back to the swing set, it's it's not going to give you what you need anymore. You need to let it go, and then where else am I going, and what tools are going to help me get there?
Right. And a lot of that, what we're really working is to live closer and closer to the present moment, closer and closer to reality as it is, with minimal distortions of fear and doubt, so that we can literally just be in the world.
Yeah, be in the world.
That's ultimately, this is what we're working towards: authentic relationships. Be with someone, be with a situation, and then process it. Else.
Beautiful message. It's a beautiful message, and it's safe to be in the world when we understand this.
Yes, when we understand that it is, we can really see the distortions, and then we can live in the stillness uh, without the emotional body taking us into anxiety.
Oh
That's what
yeah,
the emotional body does. It's not real. You know, the mind creates a story, the emotional body believes it, and then it panics.
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It does. What's going through your head is gonna show up in your body somewhere. It's so in a good way or a bad way.
Right, right. And I mean, and with practice, we can be very aware of what we allow to come into our minds.
Yeah, beautiful message. Beautiful message. Well, I want to thank you for sharing all this with us. It's perfect timing for you to be here and share all this stuff, to leading people into a different way of looking at things, picking up different kinds of tools, which is a different way of thinking, a different way of nurturing yourself. And please do look for Manny Moros at his different places. The Inner Journey, no, innerlight.outerjoy.com is a beautiful site, and look for him, Facebook, Instagram, and look for his books. On Amazon, The Other Side of Me, A Journey into the Mystical and the Gems Revealed, The Mind Overlay, Wake Up and Get Real, A Guide to Transform Your Life, and The Oneness Within, Search for the Living Spirit. These are tools that you can pick up and help you move through what we need to move through right now. Humanity is on a big journey, and we're doing it individually and we're doing it collectively. And we have a higher power that's not abandoning us. We're not alone. So thank you again, Manny. And I ask my people to reach out to you and learn from you. And for now, I want my group who listens to love yourself, take care of yourself, nourish yourself, and bring yourself into a feeling of safety. And life will be good for you. Life will change. So
Thank you, Nancy.
thanks. Bye.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.